अस्सलाम वालेकुम। कैसे हैं भाईजान? सब ठीक ठाक है। मेरा नाम है जवाद इकबाल और आप देख रहे हैं मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल हर हब कंटेंट। मैं आपकी खिदमत में एक बाइनास की एक और वीडियो लेके हाज़िर हुआ हूँ जिसमें आपको बताऊँगा बाइनास के कितने यूज़र ने ट्रांजैक्शन की है सिक्योर तरीके के साथ, और बिलियन की ट्रांजैक्शन हो चुकी है। ठीक है, उम्मीद करता हूँ आपको वीडियो पसंद आएगी, तो बढ़ते हैं वीडियो की तरफ।
For us as users of Binance, we experience a seamless user experience, but a lot goes on behind the scenes to really make that possible. Well, joining me to discuss the tech behind the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, we have Rohit Wade, Chief Technology Officer at Binance. Rohit, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you. Now, I'm really curious to hear a lot about your role and the work that you do here at Binance. Since Binance launched in 2017, the cryptocurrency landscape has grown enormously. The tech landscape has also evolved. Maybe we can start with a little bit of context of you and your role at Binance.
Great. So I joined Binance about 3 years ago as the CTO. How to be at least 5, 10, 15 times of what we were doing back then for each transaction. And despite the fact that the scale has increased, the number of users has increased, the number of trading pairs we support has increased, all of this has increased. And yet the time it takes for each transaction to complete, which we call latency, has gone down. And so we are faster, better. And what's the Olympic motto? Faster, higher, something. Stronger, faster. Yeah, we're like that.
Because you mentioned the scale there. So we've recently experienced Binance hitting 250 million users. For our users that are watching and people that are listening, what kind of scale are we looking at when it comes to the amount of transactions, just the sheer size of the Binance platform?
I will speak in a little bit of generalities because each of our systems is capable of handling like literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of transactions per second. And so we have the futures engine, the spot engine, the gateway at the very front, which controls people coming in. All of these things are operating at enormous scale. To give you some ideas, for people who are familiar with NASDAQ or NYSE, the big American stock exchanges, the volumes we handle are much, much larger than those. For people who are familiar with Coinbase, again, the volumes that we handle are several multiples of that. And so that gives you an idea of the transactions or the volumes that go to the exchange.
So I'm curious to hear, because I've also previously worked for another cryptocurrency exchange, and that was just before a kind of the market cycle of 2021. And one thing that we were told throughout the organization is in market cycles, you just have to get ready. So when the market picks up, you never really know if and when it comes, and when retail and new traders come onto the platform, you just have to be prepared. Now, for the media and marketing side of things, we've got a pretty easy job because we know that YouTube will handle new subscribers and X will handle new followers. But for the tech department, I can imagine it's a little bit different. So how do you navigate this kind of exciting, possibly slightly daunting experience of navigating smooth scalability in market cycles?
That is a great question. And there's no pat answer. I can talk about what we do. And so we are a AWS shop. We use other providers also, but a lot of it is on Amazon. And we use their technologies to help us scale. But it's not enough to just use AWS. We have to be ready as well. So an example, I'll pull an example that's not related to tech scaling or server scaling. It is onboarding people smoothly. At the time when there is a dramatic interest in the exchange or in cryptocurrencies, you see a lot of people want to sign in. And we have very stringent KYC procedures. And that can be daunting to be. There's just a lot of steps in there. So what we did in anticipation is we partnered with government-approved agencies in different jurisdictions to do things like eKYC, etc., such that the huge inbound volume of people coming in, they can have a smooth journey in to Binance, and we can be compliant with all the local regulations. So that's an example that is not scale-related in terms of server scaling.
Yeah. And how do you keep an eye and aware of all of this new technology as it is evolving? Because cryptocurrency moves a million miles an hour, and even that is a difficult industry to keep up with. You've also then got the different kind of evolvements in tech. So how do you keep your eye on everything?
That is an amazing question. And beyond cryptocurrency, there's also, as everyone is aware, AI, GPTs, LLMs, etc. There's just a lot of new tech coming in all the time. And it is not possible for any one person to be on top of it. That's the scary news. The great news is we have 800, 900,000 engineers. And these amazing engineers that we have on board, they were hired in addition for their amazing engineering and coding abilities, but they were also hired for their curiosity and inquisitiveness. So we have literally hundreds of engineers who are amazing at what they do. They are curious. They are also, we have 1,000 people looking at all the new tech, and we have a lot of tech sharing among the teams. And so, there's an old saying which says, if I can see further, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And that is where we are. We stand on the shoulders of giants, whether they are Binance employees or people outside. We read research papers, and that's how we keep on talking.
That is a remarkable number. I did not realize it was such an army that you have there.
Yeah, we are with, I am just always in awe of the engineering team that we have.
Fantastic. You'll have to send this to them and then give them a little bit of a tap on the shoulder. You mentioned AI there as one of the technology advancements that we are seeing, and 2025 has certainly been what many could consider the AI boom. It's the kind of the talking point at the moment. We've seen AI chatbots have really surged. We've seen the head of Google AI also be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. So I'm really curious to see how the shift towards AI has impacted you and your role. And then obviously that will move on into us as users of Binance, how it can impact and integrate into the platform.
Actually, AI, we have seen a step change or step improvement in what the models can do. And, as you're well aware, AI or machine learning or neural networks, they've been around for decades. It's not something that's completely new. And Binance has been using neural nets and so on also for the last few years.
Yeah.
So it's not like we just started using them this last year or so on. But what has changed for all of us is the LLMs or the GPTs. They are incredibly more capable of new tasks that we couldn't do before. And we've started using them. And we use AI across the board. So we use, for example, we use neural nets to forecast how many machines we need to deploy for oncoming demand. We use GPTs for fraud detection. When two people are doing P2P transactions, there are messages going between them. And sometimes it's an intent of one person to defraud the other. And so we use LLMs to try and spot this early and be able to warn the other person that, hey, you might be at risk here. So we use LLMs across the board. That has been an easy first step for us. We also use them. You use the word chatbot.
Yes.
With the 250 million odd registered users that we have, a lot of people have questions, and they come to our customer service chats. And the only way for us to scale is to use LLMs to be able to handle a lot of the inbound volume. And these LLMs, we are killing them, and they are doing a remarkable job. There's of course room for improvement.
Mm-hmm. And is this something that you're expecting as we do see the kind of the migration towards more involvement between crypto and AI? This is just a conversation that's going to get larger and larger, not just for exchanges and operations, but also kind of transaction to transaction.
Absolutely. And the examples that I used, whether they are customer service or machine forecasting or so on, these are the ones that I expect. These are kind of the obvious answers.
Yeah.
Beyond that, there are also, I would say, the next level of questions, such as when you see a certain price movement, you wake up and you see VDC up or down, and you want to know why. And typically then people look around for news, etc. But wouldn't it be nice if you could just have a AI assistant that told you what it thinks happened to cause this change? And so you have these things called trading insights that we are playing around with that would afford our users a very easy way to get insights on why there is a sudden movement in the market. And yeah, so that's something that's right now in prototype form, but you should see examples of things like that roll out for users as well.
It's about to make my job a whole lot easier. So I'm curious now, because we're talking about AI and we're talking about it in reference to the Binance platform. But beyond that, 2025 really did start with a shakeup in the market for interesting kind of terminology there of the NVIDIA and the DeepSeek AI. And there's a lot of kind of friendly competition in the market at the moment, and it is shaking up the global stock market. Is competition good for AI on a broader level? As someone that has been in the technology space for so many years, when you're watching this unfold, is this healthy competition for the greater industry at large?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think competition spurs new thought, new innovation, etc. And as DeepSeek has showed us that there was, one way of thinking about LLMs, one way of thinking about GPTs and how we develop them and how much it costs to build these models. And now there's DeepSeek that sort of upends that thinking and saying, hey, there's a different way of doing things. And I'm willing to bet that in the next 1 year or 2 years, I'm not even saying in the next 5 years, 10 years, in the next 2 years, you're going to see several other DeepSeek-like examples that come out and show us new ways. What we've also learned internally is there are these models that we can also train. We are early adopters. We have DeepSeek running in our data centers as well. We are experimenting with DeepSeek, personal OpenAI, etc. And we love the cooperation.
Fantastic. What would you say to people that are watching this, that are, if you have interest in cryptocurrencies, you are also aware of some of the movements in the technology space, but the industry does move fast. It can feel a little bit daunting. What would you say to people that are looking into maybe experimenting personally with AI? Maybe they have used platforms like ChatGPT before. Is there any kind of words of advice you can give them for a safe and secure user experience when testing out new technology like this?
I see. So do you mean in testing out technologies like AI or cryptocurrencies?
Both, either or.
Okay. Let's talk about both of them.